The year is 2015, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, you would not know it because today, on Retro Wednesday, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new 2015 release for the Sega Dreamcast. It is the Ghost Blade, or Ghost Blade, depending on where you look. Now, before I talk about this game, there is a little controversy that I have to disclose. Ghost Blade was announced back in April 2013, with pre-orders opening for a limited to 300 copies for a specific collector's edition, and it was later raised to 500 copies. After that, the game saw one delay after another, and eventually its caravan mode was completely scrapped before the game was eventually released this past September. Sadly, those that did pre-order the collector's edition still haven't received their version of the game yet. And only the regular and limited edition, which contains the game's soundtrack, are currently in stock. So basically what we're left with is a 5-stage 2-player shmup that was delayed by over 2 years. So as I said, lots of controversy, but how does the game actually hold up? Well, if you're a fan of vertical spaceship shooters, you're going to really enjoy this one. You select one of 3 female pilots, each who controls a different ship. Your mission is to destroy a rogue AI, and basically destroy everything in your way. Now, the 3 different ships, they have different control speeds and firing systems. There's the classic spread shot, a wide shot with missile combo, and finally the all-powerful straight laser shot. You also have access to a screen-clearing bomb. The weapon system in particular is kind of unique, and I really like it. If you press and hold the A button, you shoot. Wow, very original, right? But what's unique is that you earn these special stars, which boost your score. However, if you use what's called a focus attack, and that's done by pressing the X button, all of your firepower is streamed directly in front of your ship, so it's quite a bit more powerful, but it also grants you what are called tech orbs, and these are used to fill that little meter you see on the left-hand side of the screen. Once that meter is full, you get another stage-clearing bomb. So you're constantly juggling between using the force attack and your regular shot. And that's pretty much all there is to the core gameplay of the game. There's some pretty cool other features though, such as the fact that this is a shmup that was created for newbies. So the novice mode, which is what you are seeing here, is pretty much a complete cakewalk, especially if you use focus fire and continuously get new bombs. And here, get this, as an added bonus, if you happen to be touched by an enemy, instead of blowing up, you use one of the bombs so it clears out all of the enemies. However, if you run out of bombs, that's when you lose a life. And I really enjoyed this. I actually let Serena play this for a little bit, that's my significant other, and she was able to get really far in the game before it started to ramp up in difficulty. There's also a normal mode, which doesn't automatically release a bomb, so it's a lot harder, and when you die, well, you start with pretty much nothing. So yeah, it can get quite a bit difficult. However, overall, this isn't really a hard shooter whatsoever, and I'm perfectly okay with that so long as it's fun. The point system is based on a combo chain system. The more enemies you kill in a string, the higher your combo gets. If you die, it reverts back to 0, so you don't want to do that. Now, this isn't a game where your main goal is to finish it off, because really you could finish it in around 20 minutes, there's only 5 stages after all. But instead, this is a game that requires you to play it over and over again to really master it for that ever-elusive high score. Now, audio-visually, it's pretty damn good. The soundtrack in particular is awesome. It was done by Raphael Dill, the guy that did Last Hope, Gunlord, and a few others, so it's a rip-roaring soundtrack of techno delight. And I would strongly recommend you pick up the limited edition just for that soundtrack, because it's just great. Sound effects are pretty much standard fare by now, and graphically, well, in VGA mode, which is what you're seeing here, it displays 480p and looks awesome. Some really nice backgrounds and a lot of really good detail in the enemy ships. However, because there's so much stuff flying around the screen, I will say that the pink and green bullets can be kind of hard to see at times. There's also quite a bit of slowdown, although only when there's too much action going on at once. Ghostblade also supports a tape mode, at least I think that's how you pronounce it, which is where you can play in vertical mode, or basically just flip your monitor on the side, whatever you want. As you'd expect, the game also supports the VMU, where there's some little icons being displayed, things like that. But for me, the big thing is, it also supports the arcade stick, which is great because it allows me to relive the glory days of the arcades. The only real negative I have to mention, besides the whole controversy thing, is the fact that there's not that much content in the game. It's great to have two-player co-op mode, don't get me wrong, that's awesome. There's also a very simple training mode, but the overall game is only 5 stages long, with the third stage being over in about maybe 2 minutes, something like that. It's a really small stage. So you're left with like 4 deep stages, and that's pretty much it. And while it's fun chasing high scores, I can really see people wanting a little bit more from the game. Ghostblade is a brand new game for the Dreamcast in 2015, so right there I've got to give it some brownie points, because that's just awesome. And sure, there was some controversy surrounding the release of the game, and yes, some might say that the game can be a little bit light on content, but it remains a truly enjoyable shooter to play, and that's key here. New fans to the genre would also do well in checking this bad boy out because it makes for a great introduction. Moving forward, I'm kind of excited to see what HughCast has in store for Redux 2. For the full written review, which goes into a lot more detail, be sure to check out projectcoe.com.